Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Let's just take a minute to do another forecast for today. Today is June 5th, 2020, and today we're going to start up in Alaska. So Alaska is okay, don't wig out on me, phone. Alaska is kind of the base of everything that we're going to be forecasting today, which is the USA. You always start up in Alaska to see what kind of energy is pulling down through into the United States according to the Dutch sense method. And today, like forecasted, like I said in my last forecast, we would see maybe some activity in this general region right here. We did see a 4.1 in this part of Alaska. That means that there's energy, the significant energy coming into Alaska and down into the western states of the USA, as well as the western parts of Canada. We have another, let's see, a 4.5. Oh, I didn't see that one when I was checking on the app just a minute ago. A 4.5. That is pretty good, significant seismic energy there. A 3.6. So all of these are pretty, they're not your average daily seismic activity for Alaska. An average earthquake that happens anywhere is, to me, between 2.0 or less, like, but you know, the average, that is, for me on this app, because it doesn't show the lower ones anyway, I see them 2.0 to 2.8 would be pretty average, I would say. Anything above a 3.0 I pay attention to, because it is an indicator the energy is pulling into that area, and I can kind of forecast from there where it might lead. So we have a 3.6, we have a 4.1, a 4.5, 3 significant earthquakes thus far. Let's see what else we have here. 2.0, that's pretty standard. 2.4, standard. An older one. 2.2, standard. 2.0, 2.0. 2.2. So we have some, all of these are pretty standard. But we do have the energy coming in here along the plate boundary. You can see that. When I see it down low, right on the line, it seems, I kind of expect something to pop upward into this area. So I'm expecting maybe something, maybe like a 3.2 to 4.4 within this area. From there you might see maybe something pop up into this area as it's traveling downwards. Looks like Salt Lake City would, if it's going to happen, like I'm saying that it's going to happen, then it looks like Idaho and Utah will see some more activity. It looks like Washington had an earthquake today, a 2.2, and it's not every day that Washington receives activity, so that's an indicator. Even though it's a smaller earthquake, it's an indicator to me that energy is coming into that area. We have two of them, actually. One is a 2.2, the other is a 2.2 as well, both in Washington. Which tells me the energy is coming into this area, and so that we should watch this area for slightly higher than normal activity. specifically North California. I wouldn't be surprised if one popped up in Oregon. Now, the thing is that if I was going to see this on just an ordinary day without any context as to what has been happening, I would say everything looks pretty normal. We have over here some aftershocks from the Idaho earthquake that, these might last all year long because they are not slowing down at all. That's from a couple of months ago. They had a 6.5. Here are aftershock activity. Here is aftershock activity for the Nevada earthquake, 6.5 as well, about a month ago now, and the aftershock activity is slowing down quite a lot. So let's continue on. Let's just take a look real quick before we continue on. See what's going on. 2.0, pretty standard. 2.0, 2.1, and oh, there's a little cluster here. Let's see what's going on. This place has been it's been swarming. That's what you would call when you get a cluster like this, is a swarm. 2.7, so that's a higher one. So that cluster and the cluster that was down here, where this green dot is, has been swarming. It looks like there's just one today, but these are new swarms, and the projection of what it's going to do and behave is kind of unknown to me right now. We saw the swarms happen, and then a 5.7 earthquake right out here in this area just about 2 days ago. And a lot of people think that a bigger one in this area is coming. I kind of agree that it definitely is a possibility. However, I want to focus what's going on right here with energy pulling from Washington. You see some activity here, finally, long, and that's so suspicious in itself. You see a 2.9, 2.6. It just, what am I picking up? Why am I thinking this exactly? I feel like we should be watching this area as well for maybe a potential larger earthquake. Like I just said, if I was going to see this on any day, I would assume everything looks pretty normal except for the swarms that we're having in Southern California. However, I know what's been going on. I know the pattern that's been happening. I know the history, so you kind of get a feel for what's going on. And these swarms are a little suspicious. I saw the energy from this Nevada sequence travel down. It's been traveling down for several weeks now. It's been forming funny lines, like you can see a trajectory line is what I call it here. 1, 2, 3. It kind of creates a line. I'm unsure if that's traveling across an actual fault or it's just like kind of how the energy is moving. But we saw this before the 5.6 activity as well, and it's not going away. Here's the Garlock fault. You can kind of see it actually. I believe this is the Garlock fault. And that's a major fault. There are a lot of major faults in this area actually. And the funny thing is that the earthquake that happened out here, it could be an aftershock to the Ridgecrest earthquake. Here is Ridgecrest that happened last year. It's a little far off to be an aftershock, I would think, but I'm not sure what a seismologist professional would think. To me, it seems like a little far off to have one out here and it be an aftershock to a fault system over here in Ridgecrest, but I think I've heard someone say that it could be. The funny thing is, even if it is an aftershock, it should receive its own assist sequence as well, because it's so significantly large, at 5.6 or 7, I believe. Hold on, let me get out of this. Because it's so it's moderate to large earthquake, so it should receive its own aftershock sequence, and it's not received even one aftershock from that area, and that's suspicious in itself. The reason I'm concerned about this area, the Wanda Fuca fracture zone, meeting up with the San Andreas, maybe the Cascadia fault, is because this part of California has been dead silent for a month now. You see everyday activity, it's been dead silent, which is a little suspicious to me. And now you see just today a few of these earthquakes popping up, and they're of moderate size. Not moderate, I mean, but they're a little bit higher than just normal. You see a little trajectory line and cluster here, and they're all 2.6, 2.9, a little bit on the higher side, still normal, but 2.4, 2.1. I would like it if I were to see like a 2.2, a 2.2, a 2.3. Those are a little bit on the higher side, but still within normal, so it's hard to say exactly what's going on, but I do think there is a potential for something funny to happen out this way, specifically maybe in this area, as well as Southern California. Something suspicious is going on. If you're just coming to my channel and you're a new viewer, then something is going on. Something suspicious is going on. It's just it's not behaving like it normally does. And when you start to see patterns and learn patterns, you can tell what's normal and what's not. And plenty of forecasters and people who follow along with the activity definitely agree that something funny is happening. And you see that as well with earthquakes that we've had in Salt Lake City, of all places, in Idaho, of all places, and now in Nevada, of all places. Those are all kind of funny earthquakes. We saw just a 5.7 the other day just out here. Some funny shift is happening. In my theory, I think that the San Andreas, which is, you know, this line right here from the top of the screen to the bottom, that is the San Andreas, and I believe it is maybe what someone would call locked, and it's sending energy over to the Walker Lane fault system, possibly the Garlock fault system as well, which I believe is this line that you're seeing from top to bottom of the screen. I don't know if you can see a line that's going across. I believe that is the Garlock fault. I'm not too sure. I would really appreciate if this app that I'm using labeled the faults. That would be very nice. I mean, you have the major faults, the plate tectonics here along the Ring of Fire, but that doesn't go inland and show you the faults inland, so, you know, it would be nice if that did that. But yeah, I believe that's the Garlock fault system, and I think that the San Andreas is sending the Garlock fault energy, and I think that that's why Ridgecrest had a weird, a large, what was it, a 7.0 and a 5.9 or something like that in 2019, last year in July. And it's funny that they just received a new earthquake in June the next year. It seems like, I don't know, it's just kind of funny. Maybe it has to do something with the temperature as well. I believe that is a factor for earthquakes, among other things. So we're also seeing energy traveling across the United States, which doesn't happen too often. We see 2 in Texas, I believe, a 2.6 in western Texas, and a 3.2 in this Balmoria, Texas. I actually have a theory that western Texas will see a larger earthquake within the next maybe 5 years. They've just been seeing an increase in energy lately, and you can see a 3.2. That's not just everyday activity, and this has been going on for a couple months now. So I'm kind of thinking that with probably, maybe even within a year, to see maybe something, a moderate to large earthquake out here, if not within 5 years for sure. We see activity coming into Oklahoma. That's not unusual. They have a drilling system that causes these earthquakes, and it's not just a theory. Professionals agree that that's what's happening there. They put human waste and other waste down into the ground, and it creates methane gas, which rises and makes turbines spin for energy, and that's what that can cause some of these earthquakes in Oklahoma. A theory, actually, which is interesting to think about. These earthquakes are caused by methane gas. And someone said the other day, what if earthquakes, not just someone did say it on a page, but I think he actually got it from maybe an article from a professional that a professional wrote, that it suggests that earthquakes are not caused necessarily by plate movement, but by hydrogen particles accumulating within the floor due to water mixing with water seeping through fault cracks, that causes kind of an explosion or something, which I find just fascinating. I just wanted to share that. I'm always open to new ideas and theories about how the world works. We have an earthquake up here in Kansas at 2.7. It's not every day that you see activity in Kansas. Yesterday we had, it's gone now, but we had something in Tennessee, and that's unusual as well. So it's just suggesting the energy is moving from the western Pacific coast of California over. We saw this move over after the 5.7 earthquake from the other day. So that is another pattern that I'm going to add to my knowledge bank. If you see something significant in this area, you would assume that it's going to travel across. The Nevada sequence, when it happened up here in Nevada, it did not travel at all across. The energy remained in the location and transferred, and that's also why I think that funny things are happening, is because the energy did not disperse anywhere. Just trying to think what else I can tell you about what's going on. Let's see what else is going on across here. So I don't want to necessarily get into this part of the world today. My throat is actually kind of dry. I need to go get some water. A little swarm over here. A 4.4, 4.7, a 4.1. Are we going to get the big earthquake that I've been talking about to fall into this area, possibly up into this area soon? I've been talking about that for a month. I think that this area is due for some significant energy soon. So this activity is definitely going to come across and over up into Alaska and down as well. So that's just going to feed more energy into what's happening already. I thought I was going to come on today and say, oh, things have calmed down. There's not really, I don't see any kind of risk that's going on. Things are kind of boring again. And I actually, quite the opposite. It seems like Alaska has like shifts in, it has like a cycle of activity, stronger activity, and then it calms down, and it's been active for a few days now, the stronger activity, which is unusual. I thought it would slow down by now. It doesn't necessarily mean anything. It could mean that Alaska might see an earthquake of moderate size. Necessarily, I wouldn't think so. But it does mean that it's just feeding more energy into this kind of whirl, circle mess thing we have going on down here. Just a lot of energy that's not dispersing properly. A lot of seismic unrest within the area. So yeah, this energy will come over and out and up.